Welcome to Connecting to Spirit. I am your host, Lisa Brandis, and I'm here to help you unlock your intuition, channel with clarity, and deep dive into self-discovery, all while navigating the ups and downs of personal and spiritual growth. If you're ready to say goodbye to self-doubt, embrace your unique gifts, and connect with a supportive community on the same journey, then you're in the right place. Whether you're just starting out or you've been walking this path for years, this podcast is here to guide you, support you, and inspire you every step of the way. So grab a cozy spot, settle in, and let's dive into some empowering insights together. Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to another episode of Connecting to Spirit. Today I want to share something deeply personal with you, a story that changed my life and shaped my journey in trusting my intuition. There was a time when I didn't listen to my inner knowing, and the consequences were heartbreaking. This experience became a powerful lesson, not just about intuition, but about the courage it takes to follow it, especially when it goes against what others expect of us. If you've ever ignored that little voice inside only to regret it, then this episode is for you. So settle in, take a deep breath, and let me take you back to a pivotal moment in my life. I recall a time when life gave me an experience that showed me just how powerful my intuition is and how devastating it can be when I don't follow it. It was during a family holiday in Sydney when my youngest daughter, Hannah, was just 18 months old. We were staying at a remote property owned by my husband Gerald's relatives, a beautiful but off-the-grid place in the Blue Mountains. It had no running water or electricity, but the views were breathtaking. That evening, as I prepared Hannah's bottle, she reached up onto her tiny tippy toes and grabbed at the counter, and before we could stop her, she pulled down a full cup of boiling water, spilling it all over her small body. The scream that followed went right through me, that piercing, heart-wrenching sound no mother ever wants to hear. And in that moment, panic took over. We had no running water, only dam water. And while my husband's uncle tried to help with the first aid book, all I could think about was getting Hannah to the hospital. The local doctor assessed her burns, and the nurse followed his instructions, using iced water to cool the burn. And in my gut, I knew it was wrong. I could feel it deep inside me that this was only making things worse, not better. But when I questioned it, I was dismissed. The doctor knows what he's doing, they said. So I did what I was told. I held my baby as they applied the treatment, even as she cried harder, her pain intensifying. And in that moment, I silenced my own inner voice. It wasn't until the doctor left the room that I finally remembered I had another way to help her. Lying on the hospital bed, I loosened the iced towel and placed my hands above her burned skin. And as I began sending her Reiki healing, Hannah's cries slowed down. She relaxed. And then I just moved and placed my hand over her tiny little heart, letting the nurturing, calming energy flow. And she fell asleep in my arms. The pain had eased, and I too felt the shift. The next day we were transferred to a hospital in the city where Hannah received proper treatment. And it was there that the doctor said something that stopped me in my tracks. After going through step by step the treatment that we gave both at the retreat property and also what they did once she had been taken to hospital, he then said to me, "We don't ice burns anymore. We haven't ice burns for many years. It actually makes them worse." I felt a wave of regret wash over me. I had known, my intuition had told me, but I had ignored it. That night after my daughters were asleep, I just sobbed. Not only for what Hannah had endured, but because I'd failed to trust my intuition when it mattered most. And in the depths of that grief, something shifted. I made a promise to myself I would never again ignore my intuition. I would learn how to trust it, how to understand it, and most importantly, to have the courage to act on it. That moment changed me. It really was my wake-up call from spirit. Even now, as I share this story, and this is an excerpt from my book, Intuitive Reiki, A Transformational Journey to Deep Spiritual Awakening, I still feel deeply how much it resonates, not just for me, but for so many of you. We've all had moments where we question ourselves, where we ignore our inner wisdom to please others or to avoid conflict, but Spirit always speaks to us. Our only job is to listen. So I want to invite Anya in now to share a message on this experience and what it means for all of us to learn how to trust our guidance. Yes, we are here. It can be very challenging to remember times in your life that have caused a great deal of pain and suffering, not only for you, Lisa, but also as you recall that experience in detail. It is something that a lot of humans tend to have an experience, work out the lesson from it, and then put it in a box. But as someone who is awakening intuition, and not just for yourself, but for the listeners that are tuning in, it is a gift that you are able to dig back into the painful moments of that experience in order to find a way to serve others, and also to share the ways in which intuition shows up in your life. But it is not just the knowing or the feeling of what is right, even if it goes against what someone else wants or what someone else, in this case with authority, is not only suggesting but pressuring you into that form of treatment. And this was long before things could be Googled and challenged. It was before phones had the kind of data and information that is at all of your fingertips now. But the point that we would like to discuss is there are a few elements in this story. There is the element of that gut feeling that when something wasn't in resonance with you, and at that time your daughter, because you have a symbiotic relationship where you feel what she feels, and it's part of that caring mother role where that intuition is there to protect the babies. And so straight away the gut feeling has a sense of discomfort, that when one is tapped into their intuition, tapped into the gut brain, they feel the restriction, they feel the tightening of the stomach, they feel the quickening of the breath, the pounding of the heart. All of these are physical symptoms that represent fear, that are a way of awakening you to be on alert, because there is something happening in your environment that does not resonate as truth for you, or does not resonate as the way of the path of least resistance for you. And so as you start to develop your intuition, and as you start to move into a place of having an awareness of the programming, both cultural, from within the family, and in this case, that the programming that says that we listen to the authority, otherwise we get in trouble, is part of the program that was going on for you back then. It is a wonderful lesson to learn how to firstly identify the discomfort in the body, identify it as an intuitive insight. And as we have mentioned before, sometimes guidance is a very quiet inner knowing. It is not necessarily a direct, loud thought, although sometimes we can come through in that way when it is needed. Mostly it is a subtle experience, especially when the mind is very dominant. The mind tends to override those sensitivities in the physical body. And as one starts to suppress their emotions, because we have, as a Western culture, been taught more to primarily rely on the dominant mind rather than the emotional intelligence, it can be hard to decipher the natural impulses from the body, from the intuition, versus what's coming from programming and decisions and a fear-based response that comes from the mind versus an intuitive response, even if it is fear, as in this case. And how to listen to it and recognize it and identify it is one stage, but then having the courage to speak up and to find a way that you can share and express your concerns in a way that does not cause a defense or a reaction like the one that you experienced all those many years ago, ignoring or a dismissal of your fears and concerns as a mother. Things have changed a lot since then, but the lesson that came through is the part that we wish to speak of today. It was a decision that Lisa made all those many years ago to learn how to deeply trust her intuition, which involved, luckily for us, like a key that opened a doorway for her to invite in our involvement within her life and to participate in a way that we do now, where we can bring wisdom and spiritual knowledge, not only from a higher vantage point, but also to inspire and to teach Lisa continually, but also to share messages that will empower you on your journey. And it is the decision that is the key component to fully opening and embracing your intuitive gifts, which are all unique. And part of the journey is the unfolding and the realization and the expression of that gift taking form. And it all begins with a decision. So we hope that this story has ignited a passion within you to understand that there is an intuitive insight that is built into the physical human system through the pineal gland. There is guidance that you can receive that comes from a specific part of your brain that is connected to the infinite field that will always guide you to a place of the next best steps, depending on what it is that you're experiencing. And also knowing how to tune in and ask is the key to be able to be tapped into wisdom and knowledge and intuition and intuitive insights that you can trust, that will lead you to making quicker, easier, better decisions, being able to move through your world with confidence and being able to trust and express yourself in a way that feels most natural for you to do so. We love suggesting that Lisa's students follow the path of joy, and where there is that feeling of excitement and that passion, then that is the path opening up, and your intuition will always bring opportunity, synchronicity and alignment to help you to move with ease and grace through your life's experience. We hope this has been helpful. We hope it has inspired you to want to learn more about trusting your intuition. And we are so grateful for your time and for being here and being present with us. Whether you are listening to this later, at whatever point in time you found this message, we're glad that you are here. Namaste. If this story touched your heart and you'd like to explore more of my journey and the lessons that Spirit has shared with me, you can find my book, Intuitive Reiki, A Transformational Journey of Deep Spiritual Awakening, on Amazon. It's filled with personal stories, wisdom, and guidance to help you trust your intuition and embrace your own spiritual awakening. The link is in the show notes, so be sure to check it out. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for walking this path of intuition and trust with me. Until next time, trust yourself, trust your journey, and keep listening to that inner wisdom. And if you've got a friend who you know would benefit from listening to this episode, don't forget to hit the share button. Sending you all my love, and I'll see you in the next episode.